Well, hello and welcome once again to our Advent devotionals, and you are listening to Day 9, The Source of Peace. And it's my hope and my prayer that you are encountering God in some significant ways as you spend some time preparing your heart in this Advent season for God's coming and anticipating Christ's coming. So, Day 9, The Source of Peace, and over the last couple of days we've been talking about peace. We've been talking about God's intent of what peace was supposed to look like and what it was supposed to do. As we've looked at even the beginnings of it, we looked at Genesis chapter 3, when Adam and Eve brought sin into God's good and peaceful and perfect world. The peaceful relationship between God and man and one another is now broken. It's now hostile. It's now damaged. And so thinking through that and understanding that, we often understand that there are times when even today we experience hostility, between two different parties, between two different groups of people, between political affiliations, all of these type of things. And so when that hostility exists, sometimes we need to turn to a mediator, someone who's needed to kind of stand between the two parties and work towards reconciliation. The mediator's sole job is to restore peace between the two and to bring flourishing back into their lives. We talked about that, how shalom is God's intent for what peace should look like, this fullness, this wholeness of our lives. Well, I can think back to when I was a kid and growing up, I would often get into fights with my brothers, and my mom, she would try to mediate between my brothers and I when we would fight over something. She would try and get us to talk it out. She would try and get us to work out our differences. She would maybe even try to get us to hug each other and say something nice to our brothers. I hated that. Now, this worked only a little bit better than my dad's approach of mediating, when he would just make my brothers and I go out and work together in hopes to get past what we were upset at each other about. I'm not so sure that what my dad's intentions were there. I just kind of think that maybe it was him just wanting to get the job done and less of an interest in us getting along, but maybe that's another story. Now, back to this problem between us and God. What's needed to restore peace between us and God is also a mediator. And in order to have peace with God, sometimes someone needs to reconcile us back to God, bringing peace back into our lives. A long time ago, the prophet Isaiah would tell us that this mediator would one day come, and that he is the Prince of Peace. In Isaiah 9:6, it says this: "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace." Who's this mediator that Isaiah was writing about? Who is this Prince of Peace? Who is this person who would offer to reconcile us back to God and bring true peace back into our lives? In John 14:27, Jesus says this: "Peace I leave with you, and my peace I give to you." A little later in John chapter 16, verse 33, Jesus says this: "In me you may have peace." Well, obviously we know and we can see that Jesus was that promised mediator. He's the one who would stand between God and mankind in order to restore peace, to reconcile our relationship with God. When Jesus was born, peace finally came back into our world. Now, Jesus is that source of peace, and it's available for you today, for me today. And I think sometimes we feel this peace isn't available for us, or that God couldn't or wouldn't extend this peace to me or maybe to you. It's important to realize that peace and forgiveness are connected. And for us to experience this peace, we first need to experience the forgiveness of God through the mediator of Jesus Christ. I love how David writes about this in Psalm 32, verses 1 through 5. He says this: "Oh, what joy for those whose disobedience is forgiven, whose sin is put out of sight. Yes, what joy for those whose record the Lord has cleared of guilt, whose lives are lived in complete honesty. When I refused to confess my sin, my body wasted away, and I groaned all day long. Day and night, your hand of discipline was heavy on me. My strength evaporated like water in the summer heat. Finally, I confessed all my sins to you and stopped trying to hide my guilt. I said to myself, I will confess my rebellion to the Lord, and you forgave me. All my guilt is gone. It's my prayer for you today to experience the peace and the forgiveness available for you through Jesus Christ. Now, if you have young kids with you, this is a part of our devotional where we kind of focus on those conversations, and I invite you to participate in this and don't rush through it, but allow this dialogue to really shape your time together. And I want you to go back and reread Psalm 32, verses 1 through 5. Kids, has there ever been a time when you told a lie or did something wrong and tried hiding it from your mom or your dad? How did that make you feel when you lied or hid what you did? Did you feel guilty or maybe ashamed? How did you feel after you told the truth? Did you feel relieved? Telling God the truth about the times when we make mistakes and asking for his forgiveness takes away our guilt and fixes our relationship with him. That good feeling afterwards is called peace. Friends, it's my hope and prayer that you are experiencing God's peace more and more, that you take some time today to maybe go back and reread through this and allow God to speak to you in some significant ways. He wants our hearts to be ready, to be prepared for him, that we need to build this expectation of his coming. And to do that, we need to get some things right in our hearts and lives. And I ask that you would invite the Holy Spirit to do just that for you today. I pray that you are blessed today. I pray that you experience God's renewing peace and touch today and through the rest of this week. God bless you.